you that in drafting this consultation document, we have faced this sort of dilemma as to how much information that we have to put in this consultation document. I have to remind you, this is a public consultation document. Now the audience is very diverse. It's obviously the public. We want to get some information and views from the public as a whole. Now, of course, we have lots of experts. We have lots of different stakeholders groups. And over the past 2 months or so, we have been actually organizing different, well, not we, but some other friends have been organizing a lot of different engagement meetings. And I think that I have seen many of you quite often over the past 2 months or so. So on one hand, we want to sort of give the essential information, try to make the consultation document, make it easily digestible. At the same time, try to be a little bit more comprehensive in the different issues. Okay, so some of the issues we haven't mentioned in very detail, and we have to confess that we have not gone into very detail in each and every single issue that we have covered in this consultation document. But then in terms of the dimensions, in terms of different factors that we believe are important in making the comparison, we have tried to be as comprehensive as possible. So if you look at the consultation document, we have highlighted different aspects, different key considerations that we believe that you should take into account in assessing the different options that we may have in going forward. Now, the other thing is the scope of the consultation document. It is a field-based consultation document, so there are lots and lots of different related issues like the post-2018 scheme of control agreements review, the electricity market development after 2018, climate change agenda, DSM, as Stephen mentioned, demand side management, what kind of measures that we're going to pursue in promoting energy efficiency. So lots of these issues are interrelated, but we have been sort of struggling as to how we should be defining our scope for the consultation document. So right now, the consultation document itself is focusing on one very specific issue, and that is the fuel mix for Hong Kong, on how we come up with the fuel mix for electricity generation down the road. So just a few points of clarification. I fully agree that there are certain areas that we can talk a bit more, okay? And then the scope of it may be a little bit limited and may not meet all the expectation of all of you. So I hope that through participating in different sort of engagement meetings and also seminars, we'll be able to sort of explain a little bit more of our thinking behind. Now, I still want to show one very good slide. I'm not sure we can do that. Okay, right here. This is the slide that I'll be focusing on in my 6 or 7 minutes. Now, over the past 2 months or so, many people have been focusing on one and only one issue in comparing the two options. You've seen lots of media articles in the newspapers, and they all talk about the reliability of option one. Now, two arguments that we have been repeatedly heard from our friends in the industry, saying that option one is not reliable. Now, to start with, I have to emphasize the government is taking a very open position on these two options. We are not favoring one or the other. We want to get more views from the public. But then, since the issue has been sort of repeatedly mentioned, we have to explain as to why we believe that option one is also a reliable option. Two major arguments against option one, against the reliability of option one over the past 2 months or so. One is the CSG, the Southern China Grid is not reliable. The reliability standard or the level is much lower than that of Hong Kong. Now, I have to point out the CSG is a very, very big network. It covers 5 different provinces of different areas. Cities, towns, rural areas, you name it. So the reliability level, which right now is lower than that of Hong Kong, is an average figure for the entire grid. So it is, you'll be comparing an apple with an orange if you're saying that the reliability of CSG is much lower than that of Hong Kong. Now, if you look at the second argument that we frequently heard about is about, Macau is not a good example. Macau, even though that it's been connected to CSG and its reliability level is the same as that of Hong Kong, it's not, according to some of our friends in the industry, they're saying that it's not a good comparison. Because Macau is very small, the electricity demand is 1/10 of that of Hong Kong, and hence, what can be done in Macau may not be able to be done in Hong Kong. I'm not sure whether how many of you believe that this is the right sort of argument. But the thing is, we agree that the economic structure of Macau may be different from that of Hong Kong, and the reliability requirement may also be different. But the outcome, if you look at the outcome, they have connected the grid to the CSG, and still, we just look at the outcome. The reliability level in some years actually is even better than that of Hong Kong. So connecting to CSG, will that actually lead to a deterioration of the reliability standard? We just can't find evidence to justify that sort of saying. And I think a couple of days ago, some experts actually mentioned the point about in Macau, the reliability that we have mentioned, 99.9999 or 69, so to speak, represents only the reliability of Macau locally, the local production or local generation. It has not taken into account the import of power from CSG, which, according to some, has actually led to a deterioration of the overall standard of reliability in Macau. But we have got the confirmation once again from the Macau authority, saying that this 99.9999, which is even higher than that of Hong Kong, has taken into account it's the overall figure. It's the overall figure. It's taken into account the import of power from CSG. So what I'm trying to say here is that the overall reliability of Macau, when you compare that with Hong Kong, is more or less the same. So why can't we, well, can we just jump to the conclusion saying that connecting ourselves with CSG will actually result in a deterioration of our standard, our reliability standard? We don't believe that there has been enough evidence to say that should be the case, or that will be the case. Now, apart from reliability, and in fact, most of the comments that we have over the past 2 months have been focusing on just one single aspect, and that is reliability. And since we are amongst experts here, I think that we really need to look into two issues that have been, unfortunately, have not been mentioned very frequently in the debate. And these two important factors, I urge you to really look into them in coming up with your views, final views. One is about the implications for the opening of the electricity market after 2018. I think CW has mentioned that briefly, saying that the option one, the interconnection, or how should I say, the connecting the local grid with the Southern Triangle remains an important step, or is an important step leading to the opening of the electricity market. That is very true. Now, if you look at the consultation document, despite its brevity, we have mentioned that the implications for the 2018, post-2018 market development is an important consideration. Now, under option one, since we are going to import electricity from the mainland, what we will have to do is to construct some new cross-boundary infrastructure to connect our grid with the mainland grid. Now, this kind of interconnection will, in a way, pave the way to enhance the interconnectivity between the two grids, one on the Hong Kong side and the other on the Macau side. So, in a way, we will be able to have a more integrated and interconnected grid that will pave the way for us to introduce more competition to the electricity market, if that will be the sort of the direction that we'll be heading for. Now, under option two, what will happen? It's more like business as usual. We continue to rely on local gas generation. We continue to ask our local suppliers, our local power suppliers, to procure more gas units. Now, if down the road after the 2018 review, we decide that we should open up the market, introduce more competition, somehow the stranded cost that the consumers will have to bear will increase as a result. Now, will that, and then apart from this stranded cost, another important consideration is if we don't have that interconnectivity, if we don't have a new supply source that will be available under option one, how are we going to open up the market under option two? Now that is an important issue. And as you said, it's more like it seems that right now the consultation is more like a piecemeal approach, or unfinished business, some untold story, unfinished story. Yes, I agree. But then we have to take the issues one step. These are complicated issues. So the approach that we have taken is to sort of take one step at a time. We want to lay out these two major options of deal mix and ask the public to consider which direction that we should be heading for. And then after that, we will soon commence actually the review for the electricity market after 2018. These are the two very interrelated issues. Now, I've been given the sign saying that I should stop here, but I'm not sure I should be giving more information as I should. But then, let me just get to the other very important point about diversification, and I will stop. And that is under option 2, what is the percentage of gas we're talking about? 60. Now, there's no magic about that. Why we are going to say 60%? It's just because that we have drawn up the 2 options with reference to the environmental targets that we have to meet in 2020. Now, if we continue to count on local generation, we have to inevitably, the only way out is to increase the percentage of gas. Of course, we continue to promote ROE for sure, yeah. But then the thing is, right now, if you look at the constraints that we have, we may not be able to have ROE in a massive scale. So, as a planning, it's more like a planning parameter. We have to set for ourselves some planning parameters, and we believe that 60% of gas will be important or necessary for us to achieve the 2020 environmental targets. Now, back to the point about diversification. By 2020, if we're going to have 60% of natural gas, what will happen after that? More and more natural gas probably will be the natural consequence. So are we going to go down that route and having, follow the examples of Singapore, having 80% or even more than 80% of their, fuel mix or fuel for generation coming from natural gas? Is it the way out? Now we will be heavily relying on natural gas as a result. And some of our friends, again, in the industry saying that, oh, the natural gas has topped, has reached its peak, and you will see the price of natural gas come down significantly down the road. Yeah, yes or no, I don't have a crystal ball. What I can say is that what have been suggested by one company is not agreed by the other. So basically, we don't have any conclusion as to how the price will go. So are we going to count on natural gas alone in future? And one thing is for sure, if we do that, is that the tariff indication or the tariff in future will be more vulnerable to the volatility of natural gas, and that will be the natural consequence. So should we go down that route? I have just tried to sort of briefly mention about or responded to the comments on the reliability, and that has been the focus all along for the past 2 months. But I urge you to think long term and think about the consequences and the implications of option 2 down the road. So perhaps I just stop there, Simon, and I will be more than happy to take any Q&A. Thanks.